Life as You Own It with Mark McDougall and Craig Miller.
Remember, you got questions, we've got answers. 800-492-4664. You may not take the time to educate yourself about the single largest investment and opportunity you have, that investment in the roof over your head in real estate.
We talk about your home, financing, making investments in real estate. We give you the facts, folks.
You know, it's just good old-fashioned horse sense that we like to talk about. And we also throw in some other horse stuff, too, just for fun.
All right, I'm Mark McDougall on the air guitar, and Craig Miller is here in spirit, but not... His physical presence is not amongst us today, so I've got a couple friends that have joined me for the show, and they've done it because I need the help. Nobody wants to hear me talk for an entire solid hour, and I don't think I could do it very well anyway. No, you guys will laugh because you've heard me talk for a solid hour before.
For a solid hour.
So this is Life as You Own It. We appreciate you joining us on what we hope is a rapidly increasing in temperature day or weekend for you, because wherever you are, we're based in the Midwest where it has been cold, and we've got a listening audience that is spanning the globe, thanks to our friends at iHeartRadio and our latest affiliates down in Alabama and Ohio. Ohio, it's probably not so warm, but Alabama, we're counting on you to be carrying the burden of keeping the listeners warm. So, if you're checking us out for the first time, welcome aboard. If you are a frequent listener, we appreciate you, and we appreciate your feedback. Many of you have sent in your questions, you've sent in your comments, and you've often given us positive encouragement. So we thank you for that. Remember, you've got questions, you can reach out to us at 800-492-4664, or you can go to lifeasyouownit.com. Check out the website. You can podcast the show. As we mentioned, you can catch us on iHeartRadio.com. And we want to be your source. We want to answer your questions. So you've got anything you want to run by us, we're here to help. And we do appreciate you listening to us because we're going to cover a lot of things, and they always fall under the big roof, the roof over your head. Whether you're a renter or a home owner, we want to make sure that you seize the opportunity to be a little more educated. And hopefully, if you tune into the show, you have a little bit of fun along the way, because our commitment is always that you will learn a little bit, and Craig and I will have fun. So today it's going to be Megan Clark and Aaron Hummel are in the hot seat today, and I appreciate both of you for joining me. So thanks
for having
ladies.
us. Yeah, pleasure.
All right. So a lot of information to cover. Are you ready? We've got the 9 steps for our first-timer listening audience. Taking the plunge, buying their first home. It is a big step. We've got 9 little ones that are going to guide you along the process to make sure that it is a safe, secure, fantastic investment for you. Also, should you rent or should you buy? Do the math. Use a calculator. We'll give you the lowdown on how these tools work. Yes, we are believers in these calculators. And I've got to remind everybody, yes, we're focused on first-time home buyers. This is the first of our 3-part series. Megan, you should have reminded me. That's what I should have been kicking the show off with. The first of our 3-part series where we're going to cover everything that a first-time home buyer needs to know. In this installment, we're going to go over the 9 things, to give you the basic education. We're also going to give you some tools that you can use to identify whether you should rent or whether you should own. Next week, so I'm going to let you know, we're going to give you some negotiating tips, how to get your best deal when you're purchasing your first home. So you'll want to check that show out. Okay, I'm going to take one step back here and take a breath, and I'm going to ask our guests to introduce themselves, and we'll start with Megan. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
How did you get roped into this?
I think I was the last one available.
Okay. And what do you do for a living, Megan?
I am the chief underwriter at First Trust Mortgage.
That's right.
So I oversee the underwriting department and help make decisions on our loans.
She's a good person. Listeners, you want to remember that name. You want to suck up to Megan if you want to get your loan approved. And later in the show, we've got, if you're trying to buy your first home, you're going to hear from a real live underwriter, that being Megan, and she's going to tell you what she's going to need to approve your loan, because that's what she wants to do.
That's right.
And I've also got Aaron Hummel. Thank you, Aaron, for joining us.
My pleasure.
She was roped in at the last minute.
She's
very gracious in joining us. I like to, have some fresh voices here, to have some people so I can breathe for a few moments. So, Aaron, what do you do?
I am a certified mortgage planner here at First Trust Mortgage. I've been here for about going on 4 years.
Wow, time
It
flies.
does. We're having fun.
Yeah, and you work with Dave Brown team,
I do.
who is, Dave is kind of a celebrity in the mortgage industry. He is the top producing mortgage planner in Kansas and Missouri. So you guys, but we know the real deal.
That's right.
Aaron and Lee are driving that train, rest assured. Okay, so also, let's see, homeownership can be taxing. Talk about responsibility. Here to remind you of 4 benefits of homeownership that will save you on your tax bill. Yes, literally save you tax dollars. Want to make sure you are aware of those. All right, so as you know, each week we also encourage you to send us your scenarios because we may read them on air. They're called the should you stay or should you go scenarios. And if you tell us how much you owe on your house, heck, tell us about your relationship, whether you think it's going well or not going so well. We'll tell you whether you should buy that house, you should stop renting, whether you should leave that relationship. You name it, you send it to us. We'll give you an answer very quickly. Some of them will be educated and informed answers. Others will be us shooting from the hip. So be prepared. Average interest rates. We'll jump into those right now and let our listeners know where they're trending. So interest rates, as of this week, have slowly been trending up. The national average, based upon a $200,000 loan amount, with 80%, we'll say 20% equity, or an 80% what we call loan to value, 760 credit score, and let's see, whether on a 30-year fixed, is 4 3/8, charging just over a point origination, plus closing costs. Those closing costs can range from $2,500 to $10,000. Bottom line is, folks, rates have trended up just slightly over last week, but you got to watch out for those fees, because what sounds good on paper at 4 3/8, once you add in the discount point that is being charged on a national average, again, this is the average, plus those fees, it's costing you a little more than it may seem like on paper. 15-year fixed rates are right at 3.5, slightly over 3.5, charging just under 1 point. What is 1 point? It's 1% of your loan amount. So in this scenario, it would be $2,000, and a 5/1 ARM is right at just over 3.5, charging just over a half of a point. So $1,000 plus those closing costs and junk fees. Remember, folks, if the time is right, the time is right. Don't delay. If it makes sense to execute a mortgage refinance transaction, don't assume rates are going to go lower. Take advantage, be an educated consumer, and jump on it. What was that sound? I don't know. Oh,
I don't know.
okay. Okay, folks, this is the should you stay or should you go segment, and I'm gonna, Megan and Aaron, you're gonna get this one, and you can give us the answer. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Rick in Lee Summit emailed the following: guys, I want to buy an investment property. I've got enough to pay cash, but wondered if I should consider financing it and investing elsewhere. Sometimes they're not as easy as a yes or a no. You guys want to take a shot at? Okay, I'll jump on it.
Okay.
Well, Rick, you should. You should go with financing that home, because depending on the amount of cash that you're sitting on, you can always tap into that cash if it's still sitting in the bank account and you've borrowed. But if you put it all down to pay cash on the mortgage, you're going to have to sell the house or attempt to finance it. So my suggestion to you is you need to go get a loan. Do not pay cash. Do the math on that investment property scenario. Make sure that you do an analysis that will determine what your ROI is. Don't assume because you owe nothing on it and because you're going to cash flow that it makes financial sense. You may find that it's actually got a negative rate of return. Okay, so are we ready?
We are ready.
Ready to talk
Absolutely.
some 9 steps?
Let's do it.
Okay, the 9 steps to becoming a homeowner. We're going to begin with number 1 is do the homework first. Start shopping next. Identify if you are ready. Knowledge and experience are the keys to successful real estate transactions. And much of this information that we are going over, we found at Realtor.com. Not Realtor, not Realtor, or Realtor, Realtor.com. So you can find this information there also, but what you won't get is the snappy dialogue and the cutting and the dissecting to make sure it's most useful to you. So, are you ready?
We are ready.
All right, we're going to have to stay tuned. When we come back after this break, we're going to give you the 9 steps. Life as you own it. Life as you own it. We're back. I'm Mark. She's Megan. She's Erin.
Hello.
Okay, so we've got the 9 steps that we promised. We're going to jump right in. And actually, I'm going to ask a question first. Megan, do you remember when you bought your first home? Were you nervous?
I was
Excited?
petrified.
Were you prepared? Did it turn out like you thought it would?
Pretty close. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I had some good family advice on my side.
That helps.
And that does help a little bit sometimes, yes. And
Erin, did you get some good family advice?
I was in the business already when I purchased my first house in
Yeah.
2002.
So
I
I'm
thought
I'm
I
speaking
was-
to 2 jaded veterans.
Right,
So one,
right.
both that were in the business then, gosh darn it, we needed a larger sampling for this, didn't we?
Yeah.
But were you nervous when you bought your first home? Or were you pretty comfortable since you kind of knew what was going on?
We were a little nervous because it was new construction.
Right. Which new construction, and that will be in our week 3 segment, is if you're a first-time home buyer and you're building new, it's a whole nother level of challenge for you that we're going to make sure you're educated about. So installment 3 in our series, which will be 3 weeks from today, right? Wherever you're listening, audience, wherever you are, 3 weeks from today,
3 weeks
we will
from
have an installment on first-time home buyers that are building new. But did it work out okay for you, Erin?
Absolutely, we love our home.
Good. Okay, so number 1, are you ready? Did you do the homework? Because if you haven't done the homework, don't start shopping. One of the keys to making the home buying process easier and more understandable is planning. In doing so, you'll be able to anticipate requests from lenders, lawyers, and a host of other professionals. Yes, in some states, you do have to deal with lawyers on your transaction. In most states, the number 1 person you're going to be dealing with is going to be your lender and or your realtor. And they're going to be negotiating on your behalf. Do you know what you want? Wants versus needs, folks. Go through the exercise. Do you know what you want versus do you know what you need? And can you accomplish both? Sometimes you're going to have to make some form of sacrifice. So whether you're a first-time home buyer or entering the marketplace as a repeat buyer, you need to ask yourself why you want to buy. Are you planning to move to a new community due to a lifestyle change? Or is buying an option and not a requirement? What do you like in terms of real estate that you do not currently have? Do you have a purchasing time frame? Whatever your answers, the more you know about the real estate marketplace, the more likely you are to effectively define your goals. Okay, a big step in this, getting prepared, is do you have the money? Do you have enough for a down payment? Generally speaking, you're going to need 5% for a down payment. However, there are programs where you can put no money down. Rural development is a common one. VA is a common loan, and there are other programs available, though less available than they were years ago. So you are going to need some form of down payment. Most of you are. Those of you that are going to get a no down payment loan program, you're still going to need some money for those closing costs, etc. So is your financial house in order? Those great loans with little or nothing down are not available to everyone. You need excellent credit for the best terms, and you need very good credit to even qualify. So we've identified, you've kind of gone, why am I buying? What's my time frame? What are my goals? What are some of my wants versus needs? And gosh darn it, do I even qualify for a loan? And if so, what do those steps look like? That's where we go to now, getting loan approval. Getting loan approval begins with speaking with a certified mortgage planner. Do not pass go unless you've spoken to a professional trained to give you some great advice about whether your potential investment or your purchase really fits into your financial picture. Heck, you may not even know what your financial picture looks like.
That's right.
Well, let them help define that for you and add some color to it. So, few people can buy a home with cash. According to the National Association of Realtors, nearly 9 out of 10 buyers finance their first purchase. Realtors recommend pre-approvals for another reason. Purchase forms often require buyers to apply for financing within a given period of time, in many cases 7 to 10 days. By meeting with loan officers or a mortgage planner in advance and identifying mortgage programs, it won't be necessary to quickly find a lender, check credit, and then attempt to negotiate this purchase. So pre-approval. Erin, tell our listeners, generally speaking, what is pre-approval for a mortgage?
Generally speaking, for pre-approval, we're going to ask you to complete an application. We're going to take a look at your credit, at your income, your employment, your time on the job. What kind of job do you have? Are you paid hourly? Are you salary? We're going to ask those kinds of questions. And then we're going to put together kind of a range of what you might qualify for. Sellers really want to see these pre-approvals to know that when you do make an offer, that it's a serious offer. So it's very important for that reason, as well as, you know, making sure that you have the best options available.
Yeah, and that way you know what you're even looking for.
That's right.
If you got a 200,000 or 250, now what do you get? How do I know when I'm pre-approved? What do I show the seller?
Typically, we're going to put together a letter for you that says that you are credit pre-approved, and you'll have that available to give to your real estate agent.
And how long? So I meet with you and you tell me, hey, Mark, you're pre-approved for X, and give me a letter. How long is there an expiration date on that letter?
Typically, it's good for 90 days. At
Okay.
that point, we probably want to re-pull credit and take a look at things again.
Okay.
But 90 days is a good rule of thumb.
Okay, and this might be a silly question, but what if I, quit my job, change my job, etc.?
Those are definitely things that you want to update your mortgage planner with. We would definitely want to reevaluate things if you perhaps go from a salary to a commission job, or if you change jobs altogether, we'd like to reevaluate your situation.
Communication is the key. If anything changed, so that pre-approval is a snapshot of all the information you gave that them at that time you're good for. If any part of it changes, that pre-approval could change.
That's correct. Things like buying a car, opening up a new credit card, those are all things that you'd want to communicate with your lender about to make sure that you're still approved.
Good stuff. Okay, so once you've gotten pre-approved, then you need to get a realtor. More than 2 million people, 2 million people in the United States have earned real estate license. Does that sound like a big number?
That's a lot.
2
A
million?
lot of people.
How many people in the United States? 300 million? A little over? So
Something
that's
like
a pretty
that.
big, you're bumping into a lot of realtors in the grocery store. The National Association of Realtors has 1 million of those as members. Now, I personally believe that if they're a member of the National Association of Realtors, that they might be one you look to first, as opposed to those non-members, because they have subscribed to a code of ethics and are required to have more extensive training. So why and how do you find a realtor? So why do you need a realtor? Buying and selling real estate is a complex matter. Those of us in the industry recognize how complex it can be. Lots of paper exchanging back and forth, lots of legal documents, lots of parties involved in getting you approved for the mortgage and helping you find the right house. So though while you may be able to find a lot of properties online and find a ton of information, there are a maze of forms, financing, inspections, marketing, pricing, and negotiation, so it makes sense to work with professionals who know the community and much more. How do you find the right realtor and how do you choose them? Referrals from other realtors is a good place to start. If it's a realtor that refers someone in another marketplace that they know, have spoken to, and vetted. One that I like personally is the recommendations from your neighbors and suggestions from lenders, attorneys, financial planners, and CPAs. Your neighbors, your friends, your people that have used that realtor before. The experiences or recommendation of these past clients or their past clients can be invaluable. I encourage you to interview several realtors. Doesn't matter if your best friend used them 2 or 3 or 4 times. Get some, they may be great for them, they may or may not be great for you. Interview several realtors. What should you expect when you work with a realtor? Once hired for the job, the realtor will provide you with information detailing current market conditions, financing options, and negotiating issues that might apply to a given situation. Remember, because market conditions can change and the strategies that apply in one negotiation may be inappropriate in another. So, when we're in a buyer's market, that means the buyer is in a position of leverage. It often makes sense to make a lower offer. There's a lot more inventory, a buyer's market. When you're in a seller's market, which means there's little inventory and the seller kind of holds the card, coming in with a really low offer has a good chance of being counterproductive. You may not even have a chance to buy that house. So make sure that the specific market conditions to that neighborhood and to that general market are factored in before you make your offer. Speaking of offers, we're going to take a break, and we are offering you the opportunity to come back and join us and learn so much more. This is Life as You Own It. Stay tuned.